Hi everyone, this is Anna. Welcome. I'm so happy you are here. I have a fun and easy way to create a fall marble background for your cards using watercolor powder. In this case, I will be using Nuvo shimmer powders, but you can try using regular watercolors and apply this technique I will be showing in this video. Later on, I will show you how I stepped it up using gold embossing powder. I taped my watercolor paper onto my glass mat with some washi. I took the powder, Storm Cloud, and tapped it very gently with my finger at the bottom of the bottle as I applied it onto the paper. I just made sure there was some space in between the pigment to prevent it from bleeding into each other once I apply the water. This is key to creating that marble effect. Bear in mind that this powder is highly pigmented, so I suggest to use it sparingly. Then I took a spray bottle filled with water and sprayed it generously onto the paper. I sprayed it directly on top of the pigment and made sure that the paper was very saturated with water. Here you can see the pigment beginning to move on the paper. Marble has some veins running across its surface. To mimic this, I used the paintbrush to pick up some pigment and start to paint some lines across. I tried to make the lines go in one direction on the paper, sometimes intersecting into one another. And because the paper was very saturated with water, it allowed me to move the pigment around freely. In some areas, the water started to pool, so I used a paper towel to dab off the excess. Having a paper towel handy, it allows me to remove any excess pigment that didn't quite look right or if it appeared too dark. I continued to spray and move pigment around with my brush until I was happy with the results. And because I'm a little impatient, I took my heat gun to speed up the drying process. This is what the finished panel looks like. I made another one off screen using a little less powder. This turned out better than I expected, but I also wanted to step it up a little bit more. In the next part of my video, I will be using some embossing powder to add some shine. First, I prepped my panel with an embossing powder bag. Then I took my mini embossing ink cube, and with the corner of the ink cube, I started dabbing in areas of my panel. I dabbed the sticky ink, concentrating on the areas where it was darkest. Then I took an embossing ink pen, and using the chisel nib, I started to draw lines on the paper, following some of the existing lines and also creating new ones. Then I took antique gold embossing powder, sprinkled it generously onto the panel, tapping off the excess. There were some areas where there was too much embossing powder, but I will fix that in a bit. Then I took my paintbrush again and started removing embossing powder in areas where I felt that there was too much of it. I also wanted to soften the harsh lines that were created by the sticky ink cube. Once I was satisfied with the results, I will take my heat embossing gun onto the panel and heat set it. And this is what the finished panel looks like. I wanted to keep it simple, so I just finished off the card by adding a die-cut sentiment and a sentiment strip. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to create marbled backgrounds. I will link another quick watercolor background tutorial at the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you were inspired. Please hit the like button and subscribe if you'd like to see more. Till next time, bye!